there, and welcome to The Explainer. So, if you're tuning in, you've probably spent countless hours already using AI, right? You've typed out prompts, you've gotten those instant answers, and you've probably marveled at what the tech can do. But today, we're completely flipping the script. We are shifting gears from just consuming AI to actually constructing it. Think of this explainer as your own personal step-by-step construction manual. We are going to look at the exact blueprint you need to take an AI system from a totally blank slate to a fully functioning autonomous agent. So I've really got to ask, are you ready to actually build your own AI agent? Because it's a completely different mindset. As a builder, you aren't just asking an AI to do a task anymore. You're designing the actual architecture that allows the AI to figure out how to do the task itself. You're giving it logic, you're giving it memory, tools, and a way to interface with the world. All right, let's dive right into this. What we have here is the comprehensive, step-by-step methodology for constructing an agentic system. It's kind of like a mountain we're about to climb. And as you'll see, it's broken down into 3 distinct phases. Phase 1 is the core logic. Phase 2 covers capabilities and architecture. And Phase 3 tackles deployment and refinement. And anchoring the whole shebang is a complete market landscape of the tools you'll actually use to put all this together. To keep us perfectly on track, here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover Step 1, core logic, then Step 2, capabilities and architecture, followed by Step 3, deployment. Finally, we'll wrap up with the essential AI development tools you'll need to make this a reality. Let's kick things off with Step 1, core logic. Just like building a house, your AI absolutely needs a foundational base to stand on. Step 1 is defining your purpose and scope. You got to establish your why. Next, we move into system prompt design, and finally, we choose the underlying large language model. These 3 sequential building blocks really define both the why and the brain of your entire operation. Now, Module 2 is where things get super interesting. This is where you literally breathe life into your agent. You're crafting its identity. You aren't just telling it to be helpful. You are meticulously defining its specific goals, its persona, and its strict operating instructions. And honestly, perhaps most importantly, this is exactly where you install its safety guardrails, so the agent knows exactly what it is not allowed to do. Then, in Module 3, you have to select the engine that actually powers that identity, the LLM. Now, here's a crucial takeaway. Bigger isn't always better here. Yes, you have to evaluate base model capabilities, absolutely, but you also have to look closely at parameter size and context window requirements. I mean, how much text does it need to process at once? Ultimately, you're constantly playing a balancing game between cost and latency. A massive, brilliant model might be great, but if it takes 30 seconds to reply and absolutely drains your budget, well, it's probably the wrong tool for the job. All right, moving right along to Step 2, capabilities and architecture. Once your agent has a brain, well, it needs hands to interact with the digital world. First, you'll add tools and integrations so the agent can take external actions. Then, you'll implement memory systems for data retention. And finally, you'll set up orchestration to manage how all these different systems actually talk to each other. Let's look a little closer at Module 4. This is where the magic really happens. You empower the agent to act. Instead of just spitting out text, your agent can now connect to local tools, execute web APIs, interface with MCP servers, or even run your own custom functions. It completely transforms from a simple chatbot into an active participant that can book flights, query databases, or write directly to your local file system. But here's the catch. To act effectively over time, it needs Module 5, memory. Why does this matter so much? Because without it, your agent suffers from severe amnesia every single time you talk to it. You have to implement proper data retention strategies. This includes episodic memory for past events, working memory for whatever the current task is, and persistent storage like vector databases, SQL databases, and standard file systems. That way your agent actually remembers who you are and what you've accomplished together across multiple sessions. Now, without Module 6, orchestration, imagine a multi-agent system as basically a group of highly intelligent toddlers running loose in a toy store. Total chaos, right? Orchestration manages the logic flow. It handles the routing, it sets up triggers, it manages parameters, and it provides robust error handling. So when an API inevitably fails, and it will, your agent actually knows how to recover gracefully instead of just crashing your whole application. And that brings us to Step 3, deployment. With the core logic built and the architecture capable, your creation is finally ready to leave the lab. Deployment relies on our last two modules, the user interface and testing and evals. These are what ensure your system is both accessible and highly reliable once it's in production. Module 7 is all about setting up the front door to your architecture. How are users actually going to interact with this agent? Will it be a standard chat UI? Maybe it's baked into a full web application? Or perhaps it's just a raw API endpoint for other developers to hook into. You can even build direct integrations into platforms where your users already hang out, like Slack and Discord. The interface completely dictates the user experience. Then we hit Module 8. Listen, I literally cannot stress this enough. Testing and evals are completely non-negotiable. You must ensure reliability by running rigorous unit tests. You need to measure latency and track your quality metrics for continuous iteration and improvement. Evals are the only thing standing between you and your AI agent having a massive, very public hallucination right in front of your clients. Which brings us to our final section, Essential AI Development Tools. It's time for a quick trip to the hardware store, so to speak. Finding the exact tool that matches your technical expertise is going to save you weeks of frustration. Looking at the landscape here, you have consumer AI agents like ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity, great for general-purpose tasks and research. Then you've got agentic coding tools like Cursor and Windsurf, combining local and cloud environments for professional developers on larger code bases. Next are the no-code builders like Lindy and NAN, which are absolutely perfect for business automation. And finally, the heavy hitters. Development frameworks like LangGraph, Crew AI, and Llama Index for building complex autonomous multi-agent systems. So the big takeaway here is understanding the distinct split in your building options based on your coding ability. If your goal is business automation and you want visual integrations or natural language workflows, you're going to want no-code builders like NN and Lindy. But if you're building complex autonomous production apps where you really need that deep control over graph flows, state management, and role-based agent delegation, well, you absolutely have to step up to development frameworks like LangGraph, Llama Index, or Crew AI. And there you have it. You've seen the core logic, you understand the necessary architecture, the deployment phases, and the exact market tools required to actually make it happen. That massive shift from being an AI consumer to an AI builder, it is entirely within your grasp right now. So the only question left for us to ask is this: you have the blueprint. What will you build?